You should be barricaded in your house and kept off of the street, or sterilized, lobotomized, left in a car in heat, cause the things you say and do tell me your brain cells are with you, and that is why I hate you.
That's why it was louder. The preview, when I just fucked up and played the preview first, it's louder than the live. I don't know why.
You keep saying it's louder. I said multiple times, I hear nothing. So I just see you grimace.
Look,
and I'm like, are you going deaf? What the fuck's happening?
This is like the, I don't know, 17th episode we've recorded. It's maybe not chronologically now at this point, but you'd think I'd have figured this shit out by now. I still haven't figured it out. But yeah, I'm bringing my son to get his stitches out this afternoon. The ER had said to us, you can bring him back here and we'll take him out here, but typically you just call your pediatrician and they'll do it there. And I called the pediatrician like 2 days after he got them and asked, and the woman was like, we don't usually do that here. And I was like, oh, okay. And then just for the fuck of it, yesterday I called again, and I kind of laid it on thick. I was like, I really don't want to bring him back to the ER. It was really traumatizing. And she was like, oh, no problem. Let's just set up an appointment. So she just set up an appointment for me to bring him this afternoon, the next day. To get the stitches out.
Bring him to the urgent care. The woman just gets mad at you again.
Well, no, this is the emergency room I was going to have to bring him to, not the crazy woman at the urgent care.
No, I know. It just...
Oh, yeah, bring him there to get him out. I should. That would be awesome. I'll go and just be like, hey, look, here, he got him. I got somebody that just wasn't incompetent.
I need you to practice.
Yeah, here, practice taking him out.
Earn
Maybe you get better putting him in. I got another survey. I got a survey from them yesterday too. After the review.
Oh, another one?
Well, the last one was leave us a review. This one was a survey, and I was like, I'm not doing this. You already know how I feel. You saw my review.
I now just have a negative connotation towards you. I'm not even angry anymore. I think you're shit.
Yeah, now I just think you're shitty, and I don't care. Ben, I'm so glad you reminded me that the kids not reminded me. You told me that the kids had a half day today of school, because I had no idea. You said that, and I was like, huh?
I was relaying that to my wife, and as I was reading the comment back, I was like, wow, I sounded like an asshole. Because the way I said it was just like, yeah, we can record an episode, but I don't know about your kids, but mine have a half day. Like, in my head, I sounded like I was just being an asshole to you.
No, when you said, I don't know about your kids, I was like, don't they go what is he talking about? They go to the same place, the same district. I was just confused. No, I didn't see it as an asshole at all. I was just like, what the fuck is he talking? Does he think they're in preschool still? Like, they go to different preschools? They go to the same school district now. There's no reason they wouldn't be. I don't know, but yeah. Oh, I sent you a picture of the shirts, dude. They came out. The printing is beautiful.
I'm surprised. You know what? The white man shirt.
Yeah,
I like that. For some reason,
dude,
it's so perfect.
Great. The print quality is really good. That was so when I set up our shop, I decided to do it. A lot of people use TeePublic or one of those sites, and it's kind of a third party thing. And I because I do web development, I had already looked into this for different clients to be able to do print on demand shirts on their websites. So I had two partners that I was going to try. And I used the one, and our user interface on the store isn't great. Like, I don't like the fact that if you go to TeePublic, essentially what you do is it's like you pick the graphic you want, and then from there it's do you want a male cut or a female cut? Do you want which size do you want? What color do you want? What type of shirt? Do you want a hoodie? Do you want a t-shirt? And the way this one's set up, it's you pick the apparel, and then you assign the graphic and pick the sizes and colors. And even then, there's 15 colors and 5 size variations. And if I try to do them all, it's like, oh, that's too many variations. You can't have that many variations. So the UI is not great. I'll probably try the other partner I was going to try and see if that's any better. But the print quality is fantastic. They came out really nice. It looks
really good.
They look so good. I'll drop them off to you either on the way to the doctor or on the way back. But yep, yeah, my wife saw the white man shirt. She was just like, "You're not wearing that out of the house." I was like, "Oh yes."
There's nothing wrong with that shirt.
I don't know.
Okay, I feel like she might be more disgusted that it's just your face.
That's what it is. She's just like, "You're not wearing a shirt with a big picture of your face on it that says."
Why don't you go the Big Ed route? That's what it's gonna be.
Yeah, there you go. And even she was like, "You guys got to both wear them and just like go somewhere with them on."
Oh, if we finally go out to get our pedicures,
Well, I wanted to talk to you about that. I was going to say, I didn't know if you had any time tomorrow. We could maybe sneak out because they're open tomorrow.
I'll say like this. My kids want to go out somewhere tomorrow. I usually have the kids by myself.
Yeah,
I don't
know.
want to lay them all on your wife.
No, I get it. Well, I'll ask her if she doesn't care.
Like if she's
She
willing to
doesn't
watch them
care.
for an hour, I would definitely like to do that.
Think of it this way. She's a kindergarten teacher, so she deals with like 20 to 24 kindergartners every day. And like this year, her class is wild. So she's dealing with a bunch of crazy kids. So, I mean, our 4 kids, I think she could handle with no problem.
Yeah, but for me, I see the same scenario, but the coloration is completely different. Your purples are greens for me. So I see it and I'm like, yeah, she's a kindergarten teacher. Why the fuck would she want to deal with kids on her day off?
That's a good point. But I brought it up to her before, and she's offered and said, like, they can stay. And she said the same thing. She's like, I have like 20 kindergartners a day. I think I'll be fine.
I mean, I'll ask her. That's purely up to her.
All right, I'll ask her.
Willing to? I'd totally go into
I think we should do it because I looked in. There's.
I'm sure that my wife is just going to come by and hang out anyway because she's going to feel guilty and not want to leave our kids there.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'll talk to her tonight. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that would be good. There's the one near us, and then one of my Facebook friends. He's this huge jacked, like he must be a bodybuilder because he's so jacked. He posted a pic the other day. He was at another one right in town, and I was like, maybe that one's good. I don't know if he's going there. And he's like one of those guys who's like definitely big on appearance. Like he's a really good looking guy. He's always got his beard shaped perfect. And like I said, he's super jacked. So I'm like, he knows where he's going when it comes to personal grooming.
And remember, the art show's on the 26th.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So we got to buy the tickets.
Yeah, let's take care of that this weekend. I'll go grab them. You want to give another plug quick?
I'll have to bring it up, but yeah, I would totally do it. Help my buddy, Sifu Malik.
Doing an art show.
Yep, in Middletown, New York. Let me bring up the rest of his information. I will just say it out loud.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to going. I don't get out much, and especially get to go do something like culture.
It's called Reflections. If you go to www.maliktitusbridges.com, it'll bring you right to the page. It's the Reflections art show. It's on 37 North Street, Middletown, New York. If you live around here, apparently it's Sadie's Books and Beverages.
Nice.
So you'll also be helping a local business.
Oh, it's a bookstore?
Well as a local art show. Yeah, apparently it's a bookstore.
Well, sweet. Then maybe I could pick up a book too.
Absolutely.
That'd be nice. Yeah, so, cool. I'm looking forward to it.
It is $25 a ticket, but it is an art show and it's going to good cause.
Yeah, when you're supporting art and local artists, like I'm totally cool with that. I have a Facebook friend that does pottery, and she's always posting videos of her like with the wheel kind of sped up making stuff. And I don't know why, but they mesmerize me. Like I just sit and watch the whole video, and it's like it's so cool to watch. And I checked out her store, and I was like, "Oh, these are a little expensive." And I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, what am I talking about?" She's a local artist, local business, totally worth it. They're awesome. They're so nice looking. They're so cool. So yeah. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be fun. So hopefully we could do that. What is that? I guess 10 days or so from now, something like that.
Yeah.
And then maybe tomorrow we could get out and get our pinky toes done.
Okay.
You know what's funny?
I've been meaning to ask. Oh, go on.
No, I was just going to say, in the shower, like literally 2 weeks ago, I used a pumice stone on my foot and they're already just trash again.
First of all, I could yell, and I'm sure people feel like this is gross, and I understand, but I also don't care. This is one of my deficiencies.
Are you prefacing something that's gross on our podcast? I mean, that's kind of our thing a lot of.
Yeah, but I like to give a warning so your mind is already there before I say something gross. I actually don't know if it's gross. I honestly don't know.
I actually want to get us a jingle that's just like something about poopy time or something.
Jesus.
Well, we talk about bowels a lot, I feel.
Well, there's been a lot of bowel situations to happen. A lot of really shitty situations.
No, I know.
On top of each other.
That's what I mean. So they come up. So we should probably have a jingle for it.
But So, and my wife has yelled at me countless times, even when I didn't do this, because it would just seem like it happened. Because my feet will dry out and get really bad. I ended up getting boot foot in the army, so like,
Wait, what's boot
just
foot?
you get calluses and shit because you ruck march
Oh,
all over
okay.
the place, and bacteria gets in and your feet starts cracking, and like
Yeah.
you get athlete's foot, and no matter how much powder or stuff you use, like the only thing that's really worked on it, and that's recent, has been eczema cream, eczema
Oh,
lotion,
okay.
because
My
it has
feet
the
are
extra like help on it,
yeah,
and being older doesn't help.
no, my
And
feet are all bad and cracked up, but it's just because I never wear shoes. Like I don't wear shoes. Period.
well, so I use, my wife has like this pumice stick, and
Yeah.
I would
Okay.
like wash it and like thoroughly clean it, and then I'll use it on my foot, and
Right.
then I'd wash it and thoroughly clean it, and she thinks that's the most disgusting thing.
Really?
Like if she notices it's wet, she'll, and like, well, what if water? Because sometimes water hits like where it is, so it might get wet. But she
Wait,
thinks it's so gross.
I'm
And
very
like, babe, it's not like
confused.
you use it near your face; you use it on your feet. And this,
Wait,
I'm
so
not.
she's mad that you're using it wet?
She's mad that I'm using it on my feet
Oh, okay.
because it's hers and she uses it
Right.
on her feet.
But she
So
doesn't
it's
use it
so,
wet?
no, she's mad that I'm using it.
Yeah, but you said that she sees it's wet and she gets mad. So she just knows
Yes,
to use
because
it
if
because
it's
it was
wet,
wet?
no, if it's wet and she didn't use it prior,
Oh, right. She's not a
she believes
dumbass.
that I used it.
She can put two and two together.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I was wondering where you were confused.
my brain doesn't work very well sometimes. I get it.
So
You got to get your own.
and
I
you know
got my
what?
own.
Granted, I understand, but the problem is, if I had my own, I wouldn't use it. I know myself.
Wait.
I just, for some reason, if I have it, I
Okay.
won't use it.
Let's say
I
you've
don't know
got your
why.
own. It's sitting right next to your wife's. You
Oh,
won't use it?
I probably won't. I'll probably just stop doing it altogether. I don't know what's wrong with me. I used to do it when I was in the army. Then I
Right.
lost my pumice stone, and I just hadn't used it. Then one day I'm taking a shower, I see hers, I go, I mean, it's on you. It's on feet. It's not like I'm rubbing it
Yeah.
on anything else. So
Dude.
I cleaned it off, and then I scraped it and make sure I didn't leave any of my foot residue on it.
Well,
And she
hey.
noticed it was wet, and she went, is there something wrong with you? That's disgusting.
Have you ever
And I'm
used
like,
one of your wife's razors before?
no, I have no need to. I use
I did.
Manscaped.
No, oh, do you? You got
I
one
use
of those?
Manscaped
They're good.
clippers. I had to use them before my vasectomy.
I use regular clippers, like the regular hair ones, and they're
You fool.
fine.
I
mean,
I would
I have
never dry shave.
I have snagged my balls with the pair of clippers a couple times.
No!
But like
No, I have to.
we're talking in like all the years I've used them, like maybe once or twice I've snagged my balls in them, and it's a bleeder.
The one
But
thing
it's not that bad. Like it doesn't hurt that bad. But
I love Manscaped. I don't have to be super careful with them along
Yeah.
the seam, all that stuff. This is not a plug for them. This is just, I like.
oh, it's a plug.
I stick with it. I even use it. I even use it on my head. Like if when I shower, that's when I shave.
All
I
right, so
shave my head too.
this is perfect because this is leading into the next thing I wanted to talk about. But
Oh,
I use a Bic, and
Oh
then
no!
I'm just on my balls.
No, I'm good. So
Yeah,
wouldn't.
I just pull it right up, and I just shave it down, man.
Oh, there's too many waves and grooves for no.
You would think, but I don't think with the Bic I've ever done anything. I have snagged my
like
balls.
surgeon steady hands.
I have snagged my balls in a pair of clippers a couple of times, and it didn't hurt. It just bled a lot. I mean, it hurt for a
would
second.
Not want to use a Bic and just have that paper sliver piece of skin come on. It's like
So
peeling
really,
an orange.
I'm in the weird here.
I don't know. That's up to the listener. To me, that's awful.
Like I use the clippers on the top usually, and then I use the Bic for the main
Nope.
unit.
No,
area.
Sir. No,
I should get one of those
Manscaped clippers.
I'm gonna get one of those. Tell me which model you have, because I'll just get the same model. So now, okay, go ahead.
I think their newest one is like 4.0. I got the 3.0.
Oh, they
this
upgrade
one,
them?
guys, I'll switch.
It's like an iPhone. They got the 4, the 3, the 4, the 5.
More ergonomic and more battery life, more water resistance,
More balls friendly.
Well, the
All
clipper
right.
part. Okay, so they call it you know how every company says blah 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 technology. All
Yeah.
it is that the teeth, there's like the metal part that does the clipping,
Right.
and then the teeth are actually like porcelain.
Okay.
So
Is it just
they
safer?
they stay sharper a little longer,
Okay.
and they don't snag like metal would just snag your balls unless
Yeah, I
they
know.
get dull. Yeah.
um, and that's just because yeah. Anyway, so like, okay, so you said your wife would be upset. It is upset that you use her pumice stone that she
She's
uses
been
on
upset
her
of me
feet
using it before.
on
Yes.
your feet, but you just said you use the same thing you use to cut your ball hair on your
Hmm.
head, and you're cool with
Yep.
that, right? Now, let me ask you this: when you go in the shower, how do you wash your body?
I wash from my head. I wash everything
No,
except
no,
for
no,
my
not
feet and my. I
not
wash
what.
everything except for my feet and my genitals first, and then my feet and my genitals are the things that get washed last.
Okay, well now I got a whole nother question, but no, but what do you use? Do you use body wash? Do you use soap?
Oh, I used to use soap, like bars of soap with a wash rag.
Okay,
But now that I have a loofah, I use body wash.
so you use body wash on a loofah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I used to use body wash or something, or even regular soap on a loofah, and I don't know if I got lazy or what. But I just use the bar now. I just rub the bar on my body, and I realize I'm rubbing it on my balls, I'm rubbing it in my butt, and then I'm rubbing it on my face. But it's soap, so it's clean, right?
But you're not. And there's always here's the thing
But
with the bar
it's
soap. The
it's
reason why I
soap.
stopped using a bar soap. This is the reason why I stopped using a bar soap. Not that it's dirty or anything, but there's soap has layers like an onion.
Yeah, yes it
And
does.
if you wipe a bar of soap in your butt crack, that
Hmm.
layer is now contaminated with your butt juice.
But it's
You have
soap.
to wash off that layer of soap
No,
before you could wash the rest of your body, or you're just spreading it around.
it's soap. It's
Yes,
antibacterial, so it's going to kill those things by default.
not all soap is antibacterial, and you shouldn't be washing with antibacterial soap constantly because that actually kills bacteria in your skin that you do need.
I got all sorts of problems apparently. No, I was going to say
But
I think it's go ahead.
there is nothing. There's a haunting thing growing up and like having a sleepover at a friend's house and like, can I use your shower? Like, yeah, of course. And you go to use the shower and there's that bar of soap with the pube
Yeah.
hair in
Oh,
it.
yeah, that's bad. Ooh.
That's terrifying.
Well, so my wife and I have different bars of soap. Like I have my bar of soap and she's got hers. So at
I'm
least
sure she does.
there's not that crossover, right? Like she may listen to this and this is the first time she's going to know how I wash my body. Um Also, I remember
I can see her face.
well, okay, two things. First, I think it's funny that you said you wash your whole body except your feet and your genitals and you save them for last. Why do you save them for last?
One, for the same reason I gave you, even though it's the body wash thing, it's still the loofah needs to be cleaned between that part.
Okay.
So you know,
So
just makes more.
you're not rubbing genital and foot garbage on the rest of your body. That's your
Yes.
Okay. So that's interesting. I remember I had a boss once and her kid, I think he was like 10. He was constantly hanging out at the office. And I don't know how it came up one day, but he was talking to me and his mom was there like he was talking to everybody. And then I think she was scolding him for not showering or like you got to shower every day or something. And I was like, dude, you got to do it every day. I was like, but at least I was like, oh, but you know, if you the very least, if you're going to be lazy, hit the three parts. You got to hit your pits, your balls, and your crack. At least hit those three spots.
Okay.
To
I
make
never
sure
understood. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just saying, those are if you're gonna be lazy, at least hit those three spots. All right.
No,
With a 10-year-old,
that's
I said this to a 10-year-old. I was like, wash your balls, your butthole, and
well,
your
look.
pits.
Telling a child to wash like that is fine, only because they don't want to wash the rest of themselves. They're so lazy. As long as they wash those parts, they might just go in the water and do it.
Yeah.
I've known children that just go into the water, spin around, and come back out. Have you ever
a lot of kids
seen
do
a
that.
child go into the bathroom, the showers or the water's running,
Yep.
and they come out bone dry?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Their
It's
hair
like,
dry.
you didn't dry yourself that well, you little bastard. Like, we know we're not stupid. So having a kid wash like that's fine. and I'm just going to say this because when you mentioned it before, it just came to mind. It always never made sense to me. You're already down there at your balls. Why do you have to tell somebody to wash their ass when it's right there? It is literally just, it's not a separate section. They're all connected by a thin piece of skin. Just fucking go all the way through.
It's just a taint away.
Yeah, just fucking, just go. Your hand is bigger than the space that you have to make it, depending on how large your ass is.
I don't know. Like when I get in the shower, I start there because I'm like, those are the spots I need to hit the most. Like down there, and
probably because of how you were trained to wash yourself.
The front. Well, you know, it's funny because and to be fair, my wife almost always bathes the kids, but when I bathe the kids, I always walk, like when they were younger, I'd walk them through. I'd be like, all right, but when they were starting to do it themselves, we were getting them to start washing themselves. I would start with like, all right, let's wash your face. They do that. And I'd be like, all right, time to do your chest, time to do your belly, time to do your left arm. I'd walk them through everything. So I hope that they do, like my daughter definitely does everything herself now. My son still needs a little help once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely going to need it. Maybe another year or two.
Yeah. So I'm pretty hopeful my daughter does everything the right way in there, but I don't know. And also because you were talking about how you do your feet last, my wife told me a story. This was years ago. She had a coworker and I don't know why they were talking about showering, and her coworker was like, "Oh, I never wash my feet." And they're like, "What? Why?"
Don't tell me they said it's because it's already in soapy water.
She's like, well, my feet are at the bottom, so they're standing in the soapy water already anyway, so I don't need to wash them. Because my wife came home and she's like, "Do you wash your feet?" I was like, yeah, I wash my feet. She's like, "Okay," because this is what this woman said to me. I was like, that is the stupidest reason I've ever heard.
Jesus washed his own goddamn feet.
He washed other people's feet.
Like, you're right, but those people got their feet washed.
Yeah, they didn't rely on the water.
People's shoe was made out of hay back then. Like,
yeah, they didn't rely on the water.
God,
man. Oh, and another thing. This is completely random. Did I tell you I've been going through Seinfeld and watching all the episodes in order?
Before you go into Seinfeld,
yeah, go.
Is this still on the topic of bathing?
Yes.
Okay, if it is, then I have one more story after that. So go on.
No, I was just gonna say, there's an early episode. This drove me nuts. There's an early episode where they're talking about George pees in the shower. And they're all talking about it.
If it's gross. Yeah,
they're all talking about it's gross. And then Kramer's like, "Well, I take baths. I don't shower, blah, blah, blah." So that was that episode. And I just watched one like the other day where he says something about a bath. They're talking about baths. And he's like, "Baths, I don't take baths. They're disgusting. You're just sitting in your own tepid filth," or something like that. And I went, wait a minute. There was an episode a couple seasons ago. He said he only took baths. I was like, continuity error.
Either that's a continuity error or it's supposed to be a character flaw. Because the way Kramer is.
That's true. He could have changed his mind.
Yeah. Because, I mean, they're all liars, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I don't really watch Seinfeld, but they're all liars. That's like the whole thing. They're all supposed to be like what the Always Sunny in Philadelphia cast is,
and horrible,
is what the Seinfeld characters were.
Yeah. The parallel between those is very good. There's just it's like just the next level to Sunny characters, but it's the same thing. Yeah. They're all selfish, narcissistic people that are just terrible on both shows. They're just way worse than Sunny.
Oh, Sunny! You know what's so good? I desensitized myself to Sunny so much that I didn't realize how awful some of the things they were doing and saying were. Like, dude, I know they are bad things to do, so I wouldn't do them. But it was more so like watching someone else see it, and I laugh, and then I talk about how I sympathize with one of them, and somebody goes, and like my wife specifically, she's just like, "Are you fucking serious?"
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel bad for Charlie. I mean, I know he's he can be an asshole, but I feel bad for the guy.
Oh, Charlie's my favorite character. I love Charlie. Yeah,
no, but they've done some, because Charlie Day is just great.
They had I think the first season there was the episode where Dee dates a black guy. I think
that was the first episode.
Oh, the very first one. Like that was, yeah. And then she had the Latino character, Latina character she did later that was like incredibly offensive.
Martina Martinez is the reason why any episode with blackface or any kind of face, and I think I said an early episode, was canceled. They do not air those episodes.
No, that wasn't. I don't think that was that early. I think that was like the middle of the run, like 5 or something.
I think that was season 2, either late season 2 or early season 3 with Tina Martinez.
But I think they brought it back and they did it again in a later season.
They did, and then they got rid of that episode. Go back, try to find on any streaming platform any episode with blackface in it.
No,
Any
I
episode.
know you're right.
Tina Martinez was the reason, and it wasn't like it was later on. It was the D-Day episode, I believe, when it became a huge thing.
Did
and people
Sunny
freaked out.
remove them from streaming too?
FX did.
So no, but that's what I meant. The Sunny episodes are gone.
Yeah, because Sunny made an episode recently making fun of Lethal Weapon. It was because Lethal Weapon 5 was a big deal.
Oh, right. They did blackface in one of those.
Then when D-Day came out, it became a bigger problem. Because that was around the time, if I'm not mistaken, when Latinx was kind of like people were freaking out about that, and they focused in on that episode. And so any episode that came up, being the 2 Lethal Weapon episodes that were out around that time,
right,
or anything like that, were gone. So then they came out with another Lethal Weapon episode that had them all kind of making fun of the censors in a way by trying not to be offensive while making it.
I was going to say that it was very meta. Like they kind of like
super meta.
Right.
Like,
yeah, I remember that.
It was the same. It felt like the episode when they were trying to get an award. It was the same fucking way where they were just basically like making fun of the people that were treating them that way.
Yep.
But back to the original subject of bathing real quick, which isn't the original subject but is now.
Well, wait. Just really quick, just to add on. I do remember that because I remember 30 Rock got rid of like 3 or 4 episodes, and I was really upset because it's my favorite comedy of all time. And I don't know. I mean, I get it. Like, how do you feel about it? You're a black man. How do you feel about it?
I was never bothered by it because I got the point. That's
Okay.
that's like redacting Robert Downey Jr.'s character out of Tropic Thunder. The point is not what he did, it's all the psychology behind it.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
The very episode of Lethal Weapon 5 or Lethal Weapon 4, I think it was Lethal Weapon 5. If I'm not mistaken. But
5,
like these abhorrent characters were doing this, but still, even then, Dennis was too self-conscious to dress up as Riggs.
Yep.
But he was perfectly fine with doing the Riggs voice, considering it to be a black voice, which it really was just Danny Glover. But
yeah, it's Danny Glover.
It's a black, but as ignorant as most people are, it's just a black voice because Dennis is good at voices.
Right.
Which in a later episode, he didn't have a problem, and he didn't have a problem doing the voice of the woman from The Shield. But Dee, who doesn't have a problem with doing blackface because she thinks that's being a character, even though she's a terrible actress, did major blackface as Rick's daughter.
Yep.
Like to the point of parody. She was literally basically wearing shoe polish.
Well, I mean, that's what it was. It was parody at that point.
It was parodying it. And there's a difference. And the thing is, we're so bad at context as a culture.
We are terrible.
We're so bad with context that we don't understand when something's a parody or when something is just doing the thing.
Just being offensive,
For instance, when people were defending the movie Cuties, we've
talked about this too.
Yeah, that movie should have been a parody of, and not comedy, because satire and parody doesn't necessarily have to be funny.
Sure. Yeah, but they were essentially
easier to do that.
Essentially, Cuties just did the thing.
It just did the thing. There's a difference between satirizing the thing and doing the thing. And we are culturally, since we are big dumb Americans who just see everything for face value, can't fucking put that together or understand that. And we're trying. Right. We are desperately trying, but we're way too emotional to be able to deal with it.
Well, context is one of the most important things. Not my son yet. He's still a little too young, but one of the most important things I try to teach my daughter is context. Like, these things are bad, but you always have to look at context. You have to look at how it's being used and why it's being used.
Yep.
Everything that you are told is bad doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. Depending on how it's used.
Yeah, it's based on situation.
Yeah, it has. You have to look at how it's coming up.
Instead of telling my kids not to curse, even though I'm not comfortable with it, I say there is a time and place for cursing. You're not going to get in trouble every time you do it.
I literally had this conversation
last night. There's a time and place to do it.
I literally had that conversation with my daughter last night because we were talking. Yep. She was telling me a kid cursed on the bus, and I said I had the same conversation. I said, "Look, as far as the way I feel about cursing is." Your mother doesn't like it. You shouldn't do it in front of her, around her. She doesn't want you doing it. When you're in school around other kids that their parents might not want them hearing it, it shouldn't be happening. When you're in school with other teachers, the teachers don't want to hear it. When you're with me, You know, I curse a lot. It's just the way I talk now. I don't know how it came to be, but it's how my speech evolved, where I just curse a lot when I talk. I don't like the idea of you cursing a lot around me, but I'm never going to scold you or punish you for it, because if you want to do it around me, I'm okay with that, because that's the way I talk. I'm not going to lay on you that you're not allowed to do it when I'm doing it. And that there's a time and place. With me, it's going to be okay. Not that I want you cursing like a sailor, but if you use a bad word with me, I'm not going to, I'm not going to freak out on you. Really quick though. When 30 Rock left, because there was an episode of 30 Rock, it was actually the live show. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but they did a parody of like an old timey show. It was like black and white. And there was Tracy Morgan was playing one of the characters. It was supposed to be two black brothers. And then John Hamm played the brother with he didn't have like dark blackface, but he must have a little bit. It was black and white, so it wasn't hard. It's hard to tell what exactly. And it's one of the funniest skits because it's parody. It's parodying these old, like the fact that they used to do shit like that.
Is the fact that it was okay and not seen as absurd is the joke.
Right. That's the joke. The whole joke was, yeah, back in the 60s, this was okay. Like or 50s, they're okay with some white dude pretending to be a black guy and just being in a scene, and how ridiculous and stupid. And like he hammed it up really bad to make it even more. You're like, this is so stupid. And it's one of my favorite scenes. And I believe they cut it. They took it off streaming. Yeah. You can't find it there anymore.
That probably would have been an episode I would have found funny.
It is one of my favorite 30 Rock parts of all time. It was so funny.
One of the things that I just don't understand, and I've come to realize that if I have to explain to you that is the joke,
right,
you're not the kind of person that's ever going to get it, even if I explain it to you. Because your next thing is going to jump to, well, why do they have to do that? We know it's wrong. Yes, but the point of comedy is to create situations that we don't normally would have to put up with. Right. It's just like when people play video games or sports. Sports really is just competition to see who's better fit for survival. If you want to break it down to the most basic form of it, sports are a form of play. Play, like most animals do, are just simulating situations that'll help you survive. So when two cats are playing, they're attacking each other because they need to be able to kill and attack their prey. That's the most basic form we can put that down to. So when we use entertainment and social things, that's exactly what that's for.
Yeah,
that is exactly what that's for. So when using shit like that, that's the comedy of that situation is like, haha, good thing we're not like that anymore. If we can go to the most basic form that we're at, like, good thing we're not that stupid. Or, haha, look at them being stupid. I'm not stupid. That's why people watch daytime television to feel like that.
Oh, yeah.
Except it's not funny.
We've talked about those 90 Day Fiance, all those things.
Yeah, that's why people watch those things.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. I always laugh. I had a conversation with my wife about sports recently too, because I told you I love the Rangers. I'm a huge New York Rangers fan, and it's so stupid. I'll finish a game will end, and I'm just like, oh, I can't believe they fucking lost. That was so bad. I was like, why do I care? I don't care so much. It literally has no consequence in the world as a whole. It means nothing. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, at least there's alternatives to streaming and ways to find those episodes and whatnot.
So really quick, two things. One, back to the bathing thing. This is just something that dawned on me. That dawned on me when I was in high school, and it never. I don't want to really know the answer, but I've wondered it from time to time.
Yeah.
Because I had a friend who had a mother. I hope she's alive and doing well. Who was like 400 pounds. And I found out, I think it was in my senior year of high school, her husband bathes her.
Huh. Well,
because
I guess when you're 400 pounds,
capable of bathing herself.
So I was gonna say,
it never dawned on me that people can get to a point where they can't bathe themselves.
No, that
so
makes
I
sense.
think that might have seeped into my head where I have to not like, man, I can't gain weight. No, fuck that. My brain went, I have to make sure I am so clean so other people don't feel like they have to bathe me.
Well, there's that
like,
Simpsons episode from like early Simpsons with Bart like in the tub, like 400 pounds, and he's like, I wash myself with a rag on a stick. he's rubbing his back with it.
Oh,
early back when fat jokes were pop culture
okay.
all the time and we're okay.
But then I know you're an NHL fan. So I saw this thing today where the son of a
Oh, I know what you're going to talk about.
NHL,
There's
I
a
think
GM.
coach who used to be a player,
It's a GM, I
pushed
think.
pushed a wheelchair
Yeah. Yep.
down some stairs.
Yeah,
Please tell me how you feel about that,
it was
since you definitely know.
it was the Flyers GM, I believe. You know what? Maybe it wasn't, because the Flyers GM just got fired. Maybe it was a senior vice president.
No, it was Carson Breyer, his son.
Oh, okay.
No, Carson Breyer is the son, but is the Philadelphia Flyers interim boss.
Oh, okay. So that you're right. Okay, so yeah, their GM. I'm not gonna get into sports.
I want to make
talk,
sure
but
I was right.
their GM, who like literally has been their GM for, I don't know, 20 years, and just completely fucked the organization for 20 years. So like the Philly fans were really. I hate Philadelphia. Like I hate that team. Everybody
I feel
hates
like
the
Philadelphia
Flyers.
hates Philadelphia.
Everybody in their division hates the Flyers. They're just a shitty team. They're a team where they once got a bench minor penalty because fans were throwing shit on garbage on the ice, booing the team, and the announcer on the PA was like you're embarrassing yourselves. You're embarrassing our city. Please stop doing this. Like there's a video on YouTube you can watch.
I gotta look that up.
And he's yelling at the crowd, and then they get the punter, and he's like, look there. Now we got a 2-minute penalty because of what you did. See what you did? It's hilarious. Anyway, yes. So that's right. It's the interim GM now that they brought in. So when I first saw that story, I have to admit, I laughed really hard because I was like, that is so ridiculously terrible. I didn't realize there was nobody in the wheelchair. I thought that there was someone in the wheelchair.
No. She was in the bathroom downstairs.
Right. No, I thought somebody was in the wheelchair. And I saw the article, and with the video, the thumbnail, you couldn't tell it was an empty chair.
Fall over.
And I saw it and I went, this fucker pushed somebody in a wheelchair down the stairs? I was like, what the fuck? I was laughing. I was like, how is that something somebody did? And then I found out it was just the wheelchair. So, all right, look. So he's probably some frat boy douchebag that was like, oh, he was probably drunk and was like, fuck, I'll throw this down the stairs. Now, whether or not that should reflect on his father, I don't, fuck, hold the kid accountable. Like, you don't have to shit on the dude's father who is trying to run the Flyers. I don't think any of that's, oh, look who's trying to call me, the urgent care. Oh, maybe it's a different one. Anyway, ridiculous to but it's just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I guess there was a post after of the woman who owns the chair. She's not a girl anymore, she's a woman who owns the chair, and she was basically like, hey, it's totally cool. I guess a bunch of people sent her donations, and she said, I'm just gonna donate.
They donated because it was damaged.
Well, she said, like, it's cool, I have the money to replace it, I'm gonna push this money off to a charity or something, but I really appreciate all the outpouring of support. But what a fucking dumbass. But that's, I mean, I guess it's all sports, but hockey's had all kinds of things like that come up.
No, I just thought it was funny because I felt the same way. I was just like, he should be probably publicly ostracized for being kind of a douchebag because that's destruction of private property. He more than likely was drunk and he's a teenager. So yeah, I completely feel exactly how you feel about that. It reflecting on his dad, no. But then they went, well, he might have a history of doing really shitty things. And I'm just
no surprise there.
I'm like, he's a rich white kid. I mean, any rich kid.
He probably did shitty things.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let me rewind that and not even say rich white kid, because Jaden Smith has done shitty things. Shitty things.
Well, yeah, but there's obviously another level of privilege that comes with being a rich white kid. So no, it's fine.
But then there's his two douchebag friends that were with him, like the one that was sitting in the chair, and the one I swore one of them was going to throw it down the stairs, and then he just helped it the rest of the way. But he was the most famous of all of them.
Right, so he got all of the blame and all the responsibility. But I mean, like
no, they're all they're shitty dudes that like probably like are part of a frat.
Right. Oh, and I mean, I wasn't trying to excuse it when I said he was probably drunk.
Oh, no.
He's probably frat boy.
It's not an excuse. It's the catalyst of all those things.
Right.
Like,
pushing him to just go ahead and be the shitty person he is.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it. I don't know what would possess a person to fucking do, like, how much of a piece of shit do you have to be to do something like that? That's just a whole other...
I definitely can understand seeing the wheelchair and like being drunk and think, haha, and just sitting in it.
Oh yeah, that's one thing.
Like that's a shitty, dumb monkey brain thing, and then you get the fuck up and you leave.
Dude,
Mind you, you threw. Okay, so it's one of those bars where you have to go down into the basement to go take a shit.
yes, right.
So now you're drunk. Imagine if you were just somebody else that was downstairs. You're drunk, and now in this narrow stairwell, there's this wrecked wheelchair in
As
your
you come
fucking
out.
way.
As you come out, because she was in the bathroom, right?
That's like a Dark Souls trap.
Did we talk about on the podcast the player? Yeah, we did. We talked about the hockey player that was drafted by the Boston Bruins, and then they found out he had tortured a young disabled black kid. Yeah, okay. So we're not going to get back to that. But, it's just like every other sport, I think. But, there's always shitty. It's just like when we talk about police, like, and it's like, okay, police do shitty things, but not all police are shitty. It's like, okay, there are going to be shitty policemen. There are going to be shitty firemen. There are going to be shitty doctors because humanity has shitty people. So as they go into these professions, they're going to be shitty, So of course you're going to encounter. And I want to be clear. I'm not conflating police officers who go out and murder people with police officers who pull you over and are an asshole.
That's what I'm talking about. I was actually going to say, because one thing that people don't like, at least with police, but I see happen with other businesses, because I'm going to call policing a business.
It is, absolutely is.
That happens. Let's say a sports player beats their wife. They don't waste time. They get rid of the player. They ostracize them. They do everything.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, when a police officer shoots somebody and kills them, generally the opposite happens. If they can get away with it, they don't even investigate on it. They don't push any further. There's the self-policing is so low that that's why police to say everybody does something shitty. There are shitty people in every job is a little different, because the culture of policing is to protect their own before anything else. And that's where the problem is, because we've had the stereotype where, there's the corrupt police office in the small town that the police just do whatever the fuck they want. That stereotype has been around since before we were born.
Sure.
Before, we talked about race stuff. It was way before that.
I do want to make it very clear. I wasn't trying to conflate those two things.
No, I know you.
Police out murdering is one thing. I'm talking about the police officer that pulls you over and is just an asshole.
But even then, that's still part of that mindset culture. So when you get the one crazy asshole who goes and murders somebody, that other aspect that protected the original asshole who pulled somebody over, who gets protected and barely punished and whatnot, that still rolls to that person too, and that helps embolden that kind of mindset.
Dude, when a police officer pulls you over as an asshole, there's no recourse at all. That's just, they're allowed to do it. I mean, you can't call and even complain about that. No one's going to do a goddamn thing. I don't think anybody would even call and bother complaining, because nobody's going to do anything. I've been pulled over a handful of times, and I've had a couple that were really nice and were fine. I got pulled over once, and he's like, "You've been drinking?" And I said, "No." And he's like, "Well, what's that can there in your console?" And I picked up and went, "Diet Dr. Pepper." And he was like, "All right, have a nice night." But then I had one that I was coming to a stop sign. I stopped, and he was coming, and I was making the right turn to turn out in front of him, and he was coming, and he was probably going way too fast, because he can. And when I looked, I had plenty of time. I stopped and I had plenty of time, but I pulled out, and he probably had to brake a little bit because he was going so fast. And he pulled me over, and he was like, "You didn't stop at the stop sign." I was like, "I absolutely stopped at the stop sign." I mean, I can't say that to him. I'm not like I could say "Dude, I stopped at the stop sign. I looked, I had enough time to pull out in front of you. You must have just been going way too fucking fast." I can't do anything to that. But he was a total dickhead to me, because I cut him off, in his opinion, because he was going 60 and a 30. And then when I look, I'm just going, "Oh yeah, the distance he is, I should have plenty of time." And then but he was total fucking dick about it.
I was almost taken out by a cop on the highway because he was texting on his fucking phone. I had to fight every urge in my body.
Dude, you obviously have a completely different fucking scenario when you get pulled over than I do. the fact that like there's a dude on YouTube that's great, and he does videos. He does self-defense videos, but he does a bunch of videos where he's like, here's what you do when a cop pulls you. He's a black guy, and he has videos. This is what you do when you pull over, and he records himself every time he gets pulled over. And he says,
I get really afraid of.
See how my hands are on the wheel right now? He's like, okay, you see what I'm doing here? And like, I'm watching that and going, I can't believe this fucking guy has to do this to teach people. Here's what you need to do when you get, not people, to teach anybody with any minority. Here's what you're supposed to be doing when you get pulled over to make sure you don't get in trouble. And it's like the fact that he has to go and make those videos to show clearly, like, oh, look, my hands are on the wheel. I'm explaining what I'm doing right now. I'm telling the officer I'm going to reach for my insurance. And like, I get pulled over and I don't have to do that. I could just sit there and I go, all right, grab my insurance.
I get so scared. I get so goddamn scared to look at, well, not about being pulled over by the police. No, I have a full-on panic attack when that happens. But I'm talking about to even look at instructional shit like that, because I'm afraid of falling into sovereign citizen territory.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't have to fucking do that.
Like, yeah, that shouldn't even be a thing.
There shouldn't be specific parameters for you when you get pulled over that you have to follow because you're black. And I just can do whatever the fuck I want because nobody's going to think twice. I'm
very lucky that I have such a non-threatening demeanor.
You do, yeah.
Because that helps me in scenarios, because I do get the initial like response that you would expect somebody who's black to get until they speak to me, and then usually if they're, it's weird. If they're really old, like if they're a cop who probably shouldn't be a cop anymore, they're a little out of shape and they still hold that that line. But if they're younger, like they're rookie cops,
right?
They'll hold that line. But on the in between, I usually get them to soften up. I mean, one guy, he stopped me. I feel like it was bullshit, but he already said like he couldn't do anything about it. I think he could have, but whatever. Because
they say once I start writing the ticket, I can't do anything.
Yeah, there was an 18-wheeler who was driving erratically in front of me.
Yep. And did you speed up to pass him?
I sped up to pass him, and the cop just happened to be there. I'm like, he's more of a danger, and I'm getting off the highway. He was keeping me from getting to the exit,
and you got a ticket.
Yeah, and I got a ticket for it.
So that's happened.
The thing is, I didn't argue with him. I was I explained the situation. If you're going to go back out there, or at least call it in, because he was driving erratically. He was driving on the shoulder for a while. So he's either falling asleep, or he doesn't give a shit. And he almost hit me behind him.
I don't want to make any assumptions about the officer that pulled you over, but I've done that. I have gotten pulled over and not because they were driving erratically, because I don't like being near the tractor trailers. They just make me nervous.
It's understandable. So absolutely understandable.
I have gotten pulled over because I sped up, and I might have been doing 80, 85 to pass a tractor trailer. Mm-hmm. And one of my friends several years ago, same thing, because we were talking about the story that we had both had. Same thing happened. Yeah. He did the same thing. And both of us, we were stopped, we were pulled over, and we said, hey, I was just trying to get past the tractor trailer. I don't like drive, I'm really uncomfortable near him. I was just trying to pass him. And both officers were just like, oh, okay, no problem. Just drive safely and let us go.
Yep. See, he was just like, I already started. I was like, whatever. You're around quota. That's why all of you are out here right now.
Well, that's always a thing. Sure.
And then another time, man, this one kind of sucked, but I got stuck. It sucked only because I was driving out. It was a younger cop. I was driving out. I didn't see that the speed. It was a speed, like the speed went like from 65 to 35,
like
and then went back to 65. So I didn't know that because the sign was already down, and so the cop was behind me. He turned his lights on, but where we were is a narrow area. There was bushes on the right, bushes in a ditch. If I go over to the right, and people are going to try to pass us on our left onto the oncoming traffic. I didn't want anything dangerous to happen. So I'm just constantly going at a slow pace, not slow, but an even pace.
Right.
And finally get somewhere where I could pull off, off the road completely. And the cop gave me an attitude when, why didn't you stop when I turn my lights on? Well, so you don't get hit by a car.
Well,
that was my answer. I flat out just said, so you don't get hit by a car.
No, that makes sense.
It's a narrow road.
It's happened. Plenty of times. There's plenty of stories of it.
When somebody heats themselves up, but they don't want to be mad at you. Like,
Yes.
they heat themselves up and they're trying to not sound like they're mad at you because they
Oh
have no
yeah.
reason to be. This dude sounded just like that. Like, he was just
Well,
mad at me
correct me.
but he knew I was right. Like, I didn't do it for myself.
I don't know if it's the law, but I've always heard like you should always wait and pull over in a lit area. Like always wait and then wait till you get to a lit area to pull over.
I think it's
And
more of a survivability thing. I don't know if it's
is
the
it?
law.
Yeah, maybe
I
it
think
is.
that's because with the
No,
people
not.
who like
Sorry,
who
not that it would
pretended
be
to be cops
right.
that would
Not
kill people and
not
stuff
that it
like
would
that.
be the law, but like you're allowed to. Like you're allowed to wait until a lit area to pull
Look,
off.
as long as I'm not like leading a cop on a chase for like a half an hour or some
Sure.
shit,
Yeah.
and there's reasonable, and I feel like if it's reasonable, if they decide to arrest me, I can explain we're on a dangerous road, and I like. And I pulled the fuck over. If you want to try to arrest me for doing something to save you, a fellow officer,
Yeah, you're right.
then you all can kiss my fucking ass because apparently you don't give a fuck about even your own people.
No, how many? There's clips all over the place I've seen of, especially on the highway, of officers getting clipped when they're standing on the side of the highway.
Yeah.
So.
And it feels really weird to have like a cop go over to your passenger side and you have to kind of like talk
Yeah.
in
Yes.
that empty space. It's so weird. But again, there was a ditch, so there was no way he was going to be able to do that even if he wanted to.
Right.
But are we? Yeah, I think we probably should.
Yeah. Hilarious, because this was supposed to be kind of a bank episode, and we're going to kind of keep it a little shorter. And this may be the latest we've ever gotten into the topic. So we'll go ahead. We'll start doing that now.
It's time to begin the complaining.
I have a problem.
Okay.
I have a problem, and I think I have misophonia. Are you familiar with misophonia?
It sounds like an instrument.
It does. Misophonia apparently is when you get really angry or really fucking annoyed at the sound of someone chewing.
Chewing. I can see that. Well, some people chewing. Am I doing something?
No.
Well, you know what's
Not
funny?
yet.
The last when I was editing the last recording, I noticed there was a lot of times before I talked I would go like I was making that
different.
sound. Oh
That's
no, I know.
Different.
But I was annoyed because I had to I was trying to edit them out, but I've gotten very good when I'm looking at the waveforms now, and I'm like, we're laughing right there. Joaquin said, right there. I said, yeah, right there. Like I've gotten really good. I can identify them now. It makes it a little easier for me to pick things out. But I kept seeing these like really tiny lines right before my speaking, and I'm like, oh, it's me going, well. And I was like, all right, well, I need to avoid doing that.
Here?
Well, it's new, too, because it's not something that's been in other podcasts we've recorded. I was like, what the fuck is that? Anyway, go ahead.
Well, my dad would always eat Frosted Flakes with his mouth wide open. Like, I just did it. Like,
okay.
And I guess I developed an annoyance at it. Like, I would sit early in the morning, getting ready to wait for the school bus, wanting to punch my dad dead in the fucking mouth because he's eating his cereal open mouth.
Okay,
so then
there's two different types of people that eat with their open mouth. There are the people that do the like closed, like lips in kind of. It's just like, and then there are the smackers that are those are annoying.
And you can hear the crunch, smack, slurp, all of it. And unfortunately, I am in a relationship with someone who has to do it because she has a hard time breathing while she eats.
Okay.
Like she has sinus things. So I have to draw it back. Well, thanks to the fucking internet, mukbangs have become a fucking thing. Now, a mukbang, since I'm sure you said that you're not familiar with it.
Right. Our topic is mukbangers, mukbangs.
Mukbang, makebang, whatever the fuck. I think it's Korean. It's from South Korea.
Yeah,
I said basically. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I said I don't know what the fuck that is, so you're gonna have to explain.
It's basically when a super skinny, semi-attractive Asian person gets a fucking buttload of food and just scarfs it all down. That's the easiest way I can explain it. If you want to actually see a real definition, fucking look it up. But this is what a typical mukbang video looks like.
Okay.
Somebody from shoulder an American mukbang specifically. Shoulder length up, usually. Lower angled camera. And in front of the camera, there's a high table with a shitload of food. Could be KFC, could be Burger King, but it's an excessive amount of food. And they either talk about nothing, like us. They either callously talk about murder. There's this Asian girl who does it, and I just find it to be upsetting to watch.
Does she talk about murder, like murders that have
Like-
happened, or does she
like-
just talk about murdering people?
No, she talked about murders that have happened. Like,
Okay.
it's basically she's mixing two really popular things, which is mukbangs and
True crime stuff.
true crime.
Yes, speaking of true crime, there was a podcast I tried to get into recently that was a true crime about different murders,
Yeah.
and I was really upset with myself because I listened to a bunch of episodes, but it got to the point where they were making like really off-color jokes about the murders,
Mhm.
and I couldn't, because I have a really dark sense of humor. I say some
Yeah.
fucked up stuff sometimes, and for some reason I was like, this is really bothering me. Like there was one where a kid was like dismembered and there was a torso. I can't
Yeah.
remember the joke they made, but they made a joke about I don't remember. It was something like they had a hockey tournament in memory of the kid, and they said something like about, I don't know, something about they made some joke about the torso or the kid being decapitated in relation to, I don't remember,
Yeah.
but I was like, oh, that makes me feel bad.
Well, there's a difference between having dark humor. Dark humor is generally used to cope, but being just fucking callous,
I guess that's what it
that's
was.
being
like,
callous. That's saying, well, this situation isn't real. Like, it's like
Right.
treating it's very much so treating a human's death as a prop and to get
Yes.
paid to do so.
yeah,
that's-
it really
that's-
was just, oh, I was just like,
It's-
you're making a joke about a young child that was murdered and dismembered.
Yep.
And like, not even just a joke about the child, but a joke about the dismemberment itself. And it just hit me. And there was a couple jokes like that throughout the podcast, the few episode, but then that one,
Yeah.
it really hit me. And I
It's
was
just
like,
purely mean spirited.
but I was like mad at myself. I was like, am I offended by it or upset by this? Like, I thought I was pretty thick skinned and like was pretty dark and was okay with that.
That's it sounds like it actually hit your humanity.
I
Like,
have
that's what it
humanity.
probably
Is that what
was.
you're telling me? I have some. All right, continue about
anyway, so
Mukbangers.
but here's one of the biggest mukbangers out there is Nikocado Avocado.
That's a name.
You never, yeah. If you've never heard of him, he used to be this vegan. There's this vegan mukbanger who was like really good at playing. I think the flute, or I think it was the flute. I think he used to play the flute. I think he still does, and he's still like very good at it. He's just become a parody of himself. And he's now super overweight, no longer vegan. All he does is get a shitload of food. I mean, like a disgusting amount of food. He's fucking rich. Him and his boyfriend argue and fight, and he barely eats the food, but it's just an incredible waste of food.
So they literally just sit there with a table with a ton of food on it and eat it, and that's the video.
Yes.
Why?
And that's exactly my fucking point.
Why
Like,
is that a
for
video?
me, I don't know if there's a cultural thing behind it. There's apparently some kind of diet thing behind it. But anytime I can't watch it for too long because the sounds drive me fucking crazy.
Oh, I bet. But cool.
Like,
Okay.
I get violently angry.
It's a cultural thing that
sounds.
you get a huge amount of food in front of you and eat it. Okay, why is that a thing that people want to watch?
Because I think apparently it was supposed to be shared. I think like it's usually like getting a large feast and everybody shares and talks. And
I
then
hate the internet.
since the internet age, it turned into like one person. I treat you, the person on the camera, as if you're having this feast with me.
I hate the internet.
And it got popular. My thing is, I don't understand how it got fucking popular. Like,
That's
I
what
don't
I'm
know,
saying.
like,
Who the fuck
for
would
me,
watch that?
Like, Let's Plays, I can understand it got popular. I'm a child. I don't have enough money, or I don't have any money to be able to play this game, but I want to feel like I'm either playing the game or have the experience of playing the game with a friend. So I watch the game.
That took me a while to get into to understand. Like, why would you
but-
want to watch somebody else playing a video game when you could play it yourself? But I finally kind of was like, okay, you can enjoy the story without having to play through the game if you can't get the game, or you don't have the system, or maybe you don't like playing games but you like the story. You know, I
Absolutely.
came into that.
Yeah, it's like an audiobook. But for
Right.
mukbangs, I'm sorry, if you can afford internet, you are not so hungry that you're gonna watch somebody else eat and
No,
bullshit.
no.
Like that's just that is just I don't fucking get it at all. I've never been that hungry, not that gluttonous, not like
Well, I mean, I've never
and
understood.
Americans just fuck everything up. With
Oh,
that.
we fuck. I mean, that's kind of our thing. We like to fuck things up. I don't understand the like just the eating contest where they're like, see how many hot dogs you eat. Like, I don't get those, or why anybody is interested in going to see them.
I watched an eating contest and fucking vomited.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I don't know.
It's so
I
gross.
would be grossed out watching somebody try to eat fucking 30 hot dogs, especially like I always hear it's like some like little tiny woman,
Little
who
tiny
ends up
Asian
winning.
dude usually,
Or little dude or something.
There's this guy. I did. This is the one I actually gagged at because he would eat the hot dogs and he just opened his throat and like a fucking snake just absorbed this hot dog. I'm like,
that's so.
And I'm just like I gagged. I got really fucking sick. Like if I wanted to see something like that, I'd open up a porn site. I don't need to see that just when I'm trying to when I'm not trying to watch like something that abhorrent.
I don't know what to say.
And the thing is, like, you could see it go down his throat.
Dude, usually when we have these discussions, I try to like look at it from both sides. Like, all right, this is the way I feel about it, but let's talk a little bit about why somebody might. I have nothing to say about why anybody would want to watch these fucking people do this. I don't get it.
I've tried for years really hard to try to understand it. Like,
I'm surprised I've never heard of it.
People talk about it. I've actually tried watching it myself, but as I said, I think I have misophonia, so I can't. I actually get so angry that I can't pay attention to what I'm watching. Even if like somebody's chewing gum, funny. Especially because like if I have my headphones in or if I watch and somebody just well,
there's like I said,
mad.
There's a certain way people could chew, and it's just you can't help but get irritated about it when they they really get smacking and going.
If you chew with your mouth closed, that doesn't bother me. Eating chips doesn't necessarily bother me past the initial crunch.
Mm-hmm.
Like the initial crunch doesn't bother me. I mean, and then a little bit behind that, if your mouth is open, that would drive me fucking nuts.
Yeah,
the transition.
I don't know that I'd get super angry like that, but look, I can understand the annoyance.
Yeah, smacking gum, like it's sort of like imagine how if you've had a migraine.
Oh, imagine you mean the thing that happens to me every day?
Okay, so when somebody's doing a very specific thing and you have a migraine, like it's a small thing, like a small and innocuous, but it's just making you angry, which is making the headache worse.
Oh, yeah. Oh, all the time.
Now imagine that without the headache, but all that anger is still there.
Okay, I get it.
That's what it feels like.
That's a very good description. I know what you mean. Okay.
And so I've tried, but I can't. I can't bring myself to that.
That's not
like I don't care how skinny the person is. One mukbanger got herself into trouble because she was eating live squid. Like,
oh, she get in trouble because she was eating. Wait a minute, she's like eating
they were
while they're alive.
While they were alive.
I don't know why that's funny.
And she was eating live animals, and she thought it was okay. It's like, bitch, no, it's not.
So
I mean, maybe to some other people, but you put that shit on the internet. The vast majority of us think that's like, fucking wrong.
What is wrong with you? And yet, people boil lobsters alive, and we're like, cool, okay. Well,
that's what I'm saying, right?
I don't think that's like an anomaly. This type of video. I mean, there are a lot of like weird fucking types of videos out there that I'm just like. I like ASMR is so huge now, but I understand
ASMR.
I don't
think
like them.
Mukbang birthed ASMR.
Maybe.
To be honest with you.
No, that would make sense with the chewing noises. Like I don't like ASMR, but I understand. I get it. I get the idea. Like, okay, it gives you this tingly feeling. I can't associate with it, but I can understand that. Okay, this is what it does for you, and that's why they're popular. I don't know. Watching people eat a bunch of fucking food for no reason. They should get Donald Trump to do that. Just get a bunch of McDonald's in front of him and be like,
right, see, my brain just saw a close-up of his weird mouth.
All right, you see what I got here in front of me? I got a bunch of McDonald's.
His tiny hands and fucking like plunger-shaped mouth chewing on like chicken. And right now, Like,
Okay.
for all the emotions.
I'm sorry, people. There was a pickle on that one. I don't like pickles.
I don't do pickles. Pickles are the worst. They've only bad people make pickles. They're the grossest thing ever to be known. Pickles and boogers are the same color, which means they're the exact same thing. They're just brined in vinegar. You know what? Vinegar is evil too. I'm going to ban that. Just keep fucking,
Oh, yeah, we don't need to get into him.
I only talk about him as a character, and that was
Yeah.
like way before the whole presidency thing.
He's still a character, though.
I didn't like him then. I don't like him now. But that weird mouth, that weird, awfully jaundiced, pinkish mouth with food in it.
With that shape he makes it. I can't do it.
I just imagine food in that mouth. Like he must insert food like a quarter. Like
imagine having to kiss him. Like, imagine his poor wife.
I don't think his wife would even know too. She doesn't have lips.
That's true.
Like, she wouldn't know.
I guess you're right. I don't know. So that's what a mukbanger is. It's some asshole that just eats a shit ton of food on camera.
Eats a shit ton of food. I dare you to, if you've not heard of it, I dare you to try to make it through it.
I don't want to look this up. I don't think I want to see it.
It really is just somebody bullshitting while eating an excessive amount of food.
I mean,
that's really all it is. And literally, if I'm going to show it, maybe just to give you a visual.
No, I don't want to. No, I don't want to see it.
The angle is usually like this.
Oh, okay. This is what you're doing. I thought you were going to show me one of the videos.
No. And the food is like here in the picture, and they're like looking over.
The angle you're at right now makes me feel like you just pushed me on a bed and you're going to rape me.
Well, that's because I'm on a bed and I might rape you.
We'll see. But like that overhead with that that look you were giving me.
That's terrible. I do not need to make that joke.
It's okay. You can make the joke. It's okay. You can make that joke.
It made me uncomfortable after.
Made you uncomfortable after you said it. Do you want me to cut that out?
I don't know yet.
Yeah, you can let me know. Yeah.
No. As you're saying, the angle was, but
the angle was weird. I didn't like the angle. It's
very uncomfortable angle. It's either that or they're really low and the food's like right here.
Yeah,
it's really really bad. And my thing is, like, the people who are able to do it, I'm like, you were able to invest enough money, who became famous, to invest enough fucking money to buy food from people who probably need it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
To get yourself famous.
And you're going to waste it. Yeah.
You're just going to waste it. Nick Avocado doesn't eat most of the fucking food, apparently.
Wait, I thought his name was Nick Avocado.
Nick Avocado.
Oh, Nick Avocado. Fucking idiot.
It's stupid. It's a stupid name. And he's another, we mentioned parody before. He's another one that's basically like...
We said he's like a parody of himself at this point.
He is. He really is, and it's kind of weird because his whole thing is he tells people like, you made me like this. I'm like this because of you. And
sure. It's everybody else's fucking fault.
No, I agree with him.
No, it's his fault.
Just look up a documentary on him, and you'll understand where I'm coming from,
dude.
There's
if you don't like doing it, stop doing it. Just stop doing it.
It's not that he doesn't like doing it. That's the thing.
Well, then
he's pretty much willing to destroy himself holding up a mirror to consumerism. Well, that's how I'm perceiving what he's doing.
Well, that's his fault.
No, let him destroy himself. But he's fucking rich because of it, and we made him that. And half the reason why is because people were worried about his weight.
Well, good. Now he can go to some clinic somewhere and get it all sucked out, and he's still rich.
See, I don't agree with your cynicism of it, only because I'm not worried about him. I'm not. But what I am worried about is the cognitive dissonance we have in reference to things like that. We enable somebody to do something destructive, right? We fed them into doing it.
But he enabled himself too.
Hold on. And then we show concern. How valid is that fucking concern?
Well, I'm not showing concern.
No. I know. We're not actually necessarily a part of it. I mean, like the royal we.
Oh, okay.
Like we the people. Because this is why I find lolcows, and yes, I consider him a lolcow. Lolcows fascinating. Because the not only the person themselves are fascinating, but the people that surround them, the trolls and ourselves, are fascinating to watch. If you like to study people, studying lolcows are just super interesting.
No, I agree. It's definitely a study in humanity as a whole and how we interact with each other.
yeah, you get a few people who genuinely are concerned, but once they reject your concern, maybe you should just fucking stop.
Agreed.
But at the same time, understand that I think Nikocado is aware, and that's why he's saying that.
Oh, he's got to be aware.
Like, he's
I'm
very
sure
self-aware.
Yeah, I'm sure he
I
is.
believe he is probably the most self-aware lolcow of all of them. And he might actually have a feeding fetish, or being fed, like part of a fetish.
Yeah,
He's feeding
that
into
could be
that
true.
fetish and making his money off of that.
Well, and if that's his
A lot of
fetish,
people
then
believe
that's
that.
cool. That's whatever you
Yeah,
want to do.
like, destroy yourself as long as you're not doing crack and hurting other people. And I just feel like maybe fine, doing crack doesn't hurt somebody else, but eventually you will hurt somebody else doing crack.
Right.
Like, I just
Well,
that's why I feel like eventually
crack's
as
different.
a crack addict.
My stance on drugs is I think you should be able to do whatever drug you want as long as if you're not hurting other people, do whatever the hell you want. I don't think
I feel like
government should control them at all.
I feel like most drugs, yes. I don't feel like I see my teetering edge on that is accessibility.
I think
Like,
everything should be
once you
accessible.
lose,
Help should be
once you-
accessible, and you've got your support system should be your accountability. If you want to go
Okay,
and take
say-
drugs,
have you
and-
had this is legit. Have you had somebody who was like super addicted to drugs in your family?
yes.
Why am I asking you this?
Do you know this already?
No, it just feels
Oh.
like I would.
Yeah,
knowing you.
I won't get it. I won't say who, but
Yeah,
yes,
we don't have to get into the details of it.
somebody in
So,
my family,
we-
yes, was a complete addict. Yes,
And like to the point that it destroyed a lot of relationships in your family.
including ones with me. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So we both see differently on the same subject. So we both have witnessed it in different ways. Me personally, I feel the way you feel about like legality of it. The government really, like the DARE program and all that shit. The war on drugs should just be fucking nullified,
Right.
because it doesn't fucking help.
No, that doesn't
feel
help.
like-
It's a waste of money.
I feel like you don't have to force somebody to get clean, but
You-
remember the
you
access
can't.
to drugs.
You can't force somebody to kid.
Yes, absolutely. The access to you're right. That was better phrasing. The access to drugs will then be the ability to pay for it. And that's where the damage will come in.
Yeah, I guess
Because
that's true.
They're not going to be able unless it's meth, which then again they still have to buy the supplies for. Since money has to be involved, there is no way for somebody who's a major drug addict, unless that somehow they can work a job and still be on that drug,
To maintain their addiction.
to maintain their addiction.
Well,
without
I
hurting
also think
somebody.
but I think that if somebody needs help and the healthcare we should all
That
have
should be
healthcare to cover it.
100%. Yes.
So if
I
you
don't
get to
care
that
if-
point,
I don't. Sorry, go on.
I think responsible drug use should be allowed. It's not for me. I mean, I don't have any desire to be a drug addict or to be
Yeah, me
doing a
neither.
bunch of drugs. But there are people that do DMT and mushrooms and stuff on a regular basis. Why should that shit be illegal?
Mm.
I mean, those
I
aren't,
agree.
as far as I know, those aren't even there's no addictive properties or long-term damage or anything. People, why the fuck is that illegal?
Because it's illegal on the books for us, not for the people who have access to it.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
That's really, again, that's back to the access thing.
Right.
Because remember, cocaine was a designer drug. That was a drug that rich people were allowed to use. That we are not.
Part of me also feels like if you want to destroy your life on drugs, that's your business. It's your life. You know?
Yeah.
It's then when again. I mean, I guess it's such a hard thing to
No,
have a real
it's not
good
easy.
argument
None
about.
of it's easy or a binary.
well,
It's
because
none of it's a binary.
I say that, but then yeah, to your point, maybe somebody gets to the point where they now need help to be healthy or to get clean, and now it's on us to help them do that as society.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that should be okay. You know, maybe that's like it's going to happen, and we'll take care of the people that it happens to, but we don't want to punish everybody else for the people that are going to take it too far.
Handle it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't want to get into it, but I'm on medication.
No, I know. I'm sorry I brought it up.
I'm on medications that are controlled that help me be able to live my life as a productive person.
Yeah.
And I hate the fact that there are people that are going to fuck that up for me out there. And like,
Yeah.
I don't want to get into it, but like
Well,
it can affect me because there are other people that can't handle it.
Yeah, well, the reason why
And
I
I
brought
get
it up
punished. I
initially
can get
like
punished.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason why I brought it up like that with drug addiction is that success the ability to succeed, to the ability of popularity, food, and things like that are addicting. They're just as addictive. And so when you enable that, you give them way too much access, and they're just going to keep doing it. So, for instance, with mukbang,
Okay,
this is like
you make a really good
another-
point. You're right. It's no different with food. You give them enough
Yep.
access, they're going to overdo it. So you're
just don't
right.
overdo it.
You're right.
So one thing with mukbang that makes me really angry too, and I have a personal line, is that there's a line I have where like food, like let's say meat specifically, will start to turn into carcasses instead of being food.
Well,
And that's when you play with it. When you play with your food, I can't fucking stand that. This is a personally me thing.
No, I get it.
Like there was a guy, his whole shtick was like he would pretend to like throw food against the wall and like to just do these fucking abhorrent things. Like he had like a full chicken, he was making it dance and shit like that.
On like YouTube, TikTok.
Yeah, YouTube, TikTok, all that shit.
Well, that's just a waste
and
of food too.
The silliness is funny.
But yeah, you're playing with a carcass at that point.
You're playing with a carcass at that point. You're not playing with food. You're not.
I've heard several vegans or vegetarians that have said like they ate meat, they loved meat, and then they got to a certain point where they couldn't look at it without like that's just a dead animal. That's not beef. That's a dead animal.
And I feel like there's a line. I feel like there is an actual line, and when consumer excess hits that line, that's when it becomes the other thing. And mukbangs are 100% that.
Oof.
You're spending $300, $400, okay,
on McDonald's.
Not even if you go to McDonald's. Well, that would be, oh God. And you're laying that all out, like basically an entire, like 3 cows are right there in front of you.
Yeah.
And then just go like, that's not, one, you don't need to eat that much. Since you don't need to eat that much, it's already a problem for me.
Right. No, I agree. I'm with you.
And now that you're doing that, you are just playing with your food. You just fucking play with it. Those fries are going to be ice cold by the time you even get close to getting half of it.
Dude, they're cold by the time you get
home. The burgers
home.
are going to be the burgers are going to be frisbee discs by the time you get to the third one.
Right.
Because there's just too fucking much. The food doesn't. I've never heard. Mind you, maybe it's because I've never been part of it, but I've never heard of them ever donating the rest of that food.
Well, you can. I mean, if you're buying fast food, you can't donate it after. It's
fucking
shit.
Go out to the fucking streets and hand them out. I know nobody's gonna fucking take them from some weirdo handing out burgers out of a
You
van.
made me this way. Have a burger.
Here, have a burger. Do you have meat sweat? They make it more delicious. Just tossing these burgers out.
Soggy burgers. Soaked in meat sweat.
The sweat is what makes it authentic.
It's so gross.
But it's all just like pushed this like I need to be better. I need to be better. I need to push more. I need to push more. And it's like this is the reason why moral veganism is right. I'm not a vegan. It's probably not going to happen in my lifetime where I'll ever like fully like give into it, but I understand it.
I would love to
wholeheartedly.
I would love to. I don't know what I would eat. That's what it comes down to, honestly. Like if I removed all meat and animal products from my diet, I don't know what I would have left at this point.
Yeah,
Pasta.
I've tried meat alternatives. I can't.
Well, I hear they're like really good now. You know, I know they were shitty to begin with, but
I've looked into a lot of that too, but I can't. I realize I can't. Hopefully my kids will, because guess what? Things might get better if they stop. But as of right now, that's not going to happen because humans just can't fucking stop. And that's, for me, mukbangs were that. They are just people who just can't fucking stop. And pushing it with the fat movement or the what's it? What the fuck is it called? The body positive movement. Mm-hmm. Like health at every size. Okay, you could say beauty at every size. You could say that. Health at every size, you can't fucking say.
Oh yeah, I mean they're very, very different things. They're two different ideas.
Because like, unless you're talking about the size of your bones, even then, fucking people with giganticism aren't healthy.
Right.
It's a defect, but they're not healthy. But they're naturally healthy. Some people have thyroid problems. Got it. Guess what? Eating a fucking bunch of bullshit isn't gonna fucking help that. But the consumerist problem that we have is that we can't fucking stop. And mukbangs push that notion. People are attacking anorexic people like Eugenia Cooney, who apparently she doesn't actually promote her anorexia to anybody. But people are like, well, she shows herself, she wears these outfits, so she's okay with herself, and that
equates
promoting
to
it,
promoting
but
it,
she never said like, don't eat. She never I've never seen her fucking say it,
no,
but I watch
different.
these fucking fat ass mukbangers going, oh, delicious, like promoting this fucking food that other people have access to.
Yeah, that's bad.
Fuck you.
Yeah, now I hate these people just as much as you do, and I did not know what they were like 20 minutes ago.
I just can't. I'm done.
I don't know. That's just. I think that's just one of the problems with going online. I mean, ever since I finally got on TikTok, because I think you kind of forced me to. You didn't force me to, but you talked me into it a little bit.
I talked you into it, and then I left.
And then like now, like how often do I text you? And I'm just like, what the fuck? What's with these broads selling wigs? There's just like all these people that just do weird random things.
You are the only reason why I've been opening that app. Like, I'll randomly send you something, but I rarely use it now because I'm just so fucking done.
I don't use it that often either. When I first did, there was a couple nights where I was just doom scrolling through, like.
Yep, that's it. I found myself
a couple messages, and I was like, dude, there's like 6 categories of people on my TikTok feed, and I like just the same thing over and over, and then it started getting a little more ambiguous, and then I started seeing really weird stuff, and I finally was like, because you know what pisses me off? By default, it's the For You tab, their algorithm, not your following. So it's not like Twitter. Well, Twitter is going away from this now too, where like if I could open it and just see the people I follow, be fine. Mm-hmm. But it puts me right to the For You tab where it's like, here's some shit that you should watch. And that's where you get stuck. And Twitter is doing that now. One of the things I loved about Twitter was I'd open it. It was just people I follow. Now they've switched it where there's a default tab that is just a For You algorithm trying to feed you shit. And they've made it very, very hard to even, like, you can't even like, you used to be able to set your timeline. Like, I want to see the newest stuff. I don't want to see the most popular stuff. Like, now you can't even do that. It's like it defaults to the algorithm. You can go over to the people you're following, but you can't really have any control over the filtering and the order anymore. So it's like they're trying to push themselves over. Maybe Musk probably is doing it. They're trying to push themselves.
They're all trying to be like.
Well, they're pushing themselves to that TikTok model YouTube. Where no, we don't want you to see the things you want to see. We want you to see the things we want you to see. So it sucks. Anyway, we got to wrap up because I got to go get those stitches out.
Yep.
I'm glad we were able to get this episode in the bag. And you got anything else to say?
No, I'm done. I'm burnt.
You're burnt? Yeah, I'm burnt too. It's been a week. It's been a long week.
Yes, it has been indeed a week.
Well, folks, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Go check us out at atiwihy.com. You can send us a message or leave us a comment or something. Go send us a message. We want somebody to send us an email and say, you guys are idiots. And then we can read it and know why we're idiots. Or you could just be like, we're right. And then we'll be like, yeah, we're smart. Something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like that. I like having that kind of opinion biased.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I think I'm an idiot too. Great. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah, I think I'm an idiot. I know I'm an idiot. Neither of us, I think.
Confirmation bias. That's it.
Yeah, there you go. Confirmation bias. I don't think either of us think we're geniuses. I think we both know we're just rambling on about things we don't know about. All right, bye. It's not playing. No, buddy, I clicked the button. I didn't fuck up. I only clicked it once and it's not playing.
Okay, bye. Okay, bye.
I guess I'm adding this shit in post.
Oh.
No, none of them are playing. Fuck you, podcast platform. All right.
Okay, bye.
Bye.